Hello everyone and welcome to Crusader Kings 2, the grand strategy game by Paradox. So we're going to start a new game today and I've already picked out what the aim's going to be. We're going to go for the achievement "The Frisian Coast is Long." Now I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. My pronunciation, as you will see during this playthrough, is terrible at best, so please feel free to correct me where possible, which will be most episodes. So on this achievement, we basically need to become the king of Frisia, which is a kingdom. Is basically the kingdom of Holland in game. We need to become the king of that kingdom, but then we also, for this achievement, need to own every county that is along the northwest coast of Europe. So starting in Lyon down here, we need to own all these counties going up here all the way up to the top of Denmark here. So it's quite a tough achievement, I believe, but it's an interesting one, especially as we're going to be starting in 769, so the earliest start you can in Crusader Kings 2. But I think it'd be a fun one to go for. Now, I am going to have a backup goal, which is just going to be one of the other achievements, which is to go on a crusade. So that would be the backup, because that's quite far away off in the timeline. So that'll just be, if this gets a little bit too difficult, our backup goal will just be to go on crusade to the Holy Land, and we'll have some fun down there if needed. But yeah, our main goal is going to be this achievement, which I've not got before. So I think we're just going to jump into it and see how it goes. So we're going to start a little bit differently. I think most people who try this start as the Duke of Holland. I think it is up here. Where is he? He's not a Carling. This guy. Start as Duke Anselm of Holland, because you start with a few counties, but we're going to do it the opposite way, which is probably going to make it even more difficult. We're going to start here in lowly Lyon on the west coast here. We're going to start as Count Morvan of Lyon. He's a handsome chap, and this is who we're going to play as. The game thinks it's going to be quite difficult, 79%, because we don't own anything except for this county. We don't have any family elsewhere in the game, so it's going to be quite difficult to build out from here. But I think it'll be quite fun, and you know, if not, it'll be a spectacular mess. So we're going to start as you. We've chosen you, so let's get to it. Now these are all the options. We're going to do Iron Man to prevent me from trying to cheat the system and load up old games. But there's some things we're going to turn off here. I'm going to turn off secret religious cults, because I want like a historical playthrough rather than having some of the supernatural things that have been added to the game with especially the latest expansions. We're going to leave that on. We're going to turn off Shattered Retreat. I think it makes the game a bit more realistic. If you turn it on, when you defeat an army, it will retreat to safe land. So, you know, if I beat an army in Lyon and they were from somewhere in the middle of France, they would retreat all the way to there and then come all the way back. Which is the default, but it's not very realistic and you can't fight them. So if you turn it off, I think it doesn't say so, but I think it means you can attack retreating armies and they will just retreat a small distance. And as it says, it makes the game a little bit easier, but not a great deal. So I think it's just a bit more realistic. And although I did say I'd turn supernatural events off up here, they're cults, I'm going to leave the actual events on, because it just says events that can be interpreted as supernatural may appear. I am going to leave that one on. I know it goes against me saying I want a historical playthrough, but I always see these as kind of being like, when you finish the end of the game and you look back, it's almost like those kind of legends, or you know, things where, you know, looking back, something strange may have happened, and in the, you know, the annals of history it's looked on supernaturally, but at the time it wasn't. So we'll leave that on for this playthrough, and apart from that I think everything else is default. I don't think I've changed anything else. Actually, I might turn this one off. We'll leave it on because they must be by default turned on. So We'll just leave everything else turned on. Oh, actually there is one I want to look for, wherever it is. The title naming systems. I'm not sure where it is. It's in here somewhere. I'm sure one of you have probably seen it, so you're probably shouting at me that I've scrolled past it already. But I'm sure it is here somewhere. Titles named. There we go. That's the one I was after. Titles named after dynasties. If you leave it on, it has like here, like Abbasids, uses kind of the names they had in, you know, real history. But as I said at the beginning, my pronunciation is terrible, so I'm going to turn it off so everything is just like Count, Duke, King, Empire, Emperor, just so I don't make a fool of myself more than needed, which you know, will probably happen quite a bit anyway, but you know, keep it to a minimum. So we're going to start, and let's get going. These are two of the old saves I just did just to test some things. So we're going to go for, we'll just keep it called that, doesn't really matter. And here we go. Welcome to Crusader Kings. I won't read any of this. I'm sure you've all given it a go by now. So we'll leave it paused. And this is us. So like I say, we don't have a... This is our wife. We don't have one yet. You generally start without one. This is our heir. Konkar Mab Morvan. So he's our son. He is... wherever his age is. Up here, 4. So he's only 4 years old. So he's young. So he will become, when we die, he will take over, and we will play as him. For those who aren't aware, when you die, you play as your heir, and you keep going and going through the ages. The only way to really lose in Crusader Kings is if you die and you have no heirs, so your house dies. So we're House Leon, starting in Leon. As long as there's people alive in our house that we control, we will survive in the game, and the game won't end until the end of the years of the game, which I think is the 1400s sometime. So basically, as long as we don't die with no heirs, we're going to be playing along towards our goal that we set out. So we started up. These along here are like little prompts by the game that we should do things, so let's start there. New important decisions are available. So this is just telling us that in the decision window there are some things that we could do if we'd like. So these are semi-important ones. These like sort of gold leafed versions, I'd say. These kind of highlighted ones. These ones that we should generally keep an eye on. So you know, we could found the Roman Empire and things like that. The Holy Roman Empire, but there's none of these that we need to do now, so we can just ignore that first one really, because we don't want to do anything there yet. So we are unmarried, so this is an important one. This is one I always do straight away. So let's find someone to marry. Now we're not very powerful, we only own this one county, so we're gonna not get good options in the marriage simulator portion of the game. So we're going to just have to see what we can get the best, get some good traits, so our future generations of children will be better, and in the end we'll build up a dynasty that's great. So let's look at ours. So we're a detached priest, chaste, which is not good. That means it'll be harder for us to have children. Greedy, gives us more tax. Kind, so that's good because our vassals will like us more. And content, that one's not too bad. The losing the intrigue's not great, but overall they're not bad starting ones. So as we're not going to be able to marry into any of the houses in the game really, I'm just going to look for somebody who has good traits, and we'll kind of sort of make do with what we get. If you see any of these like white ones, that means they're not of age yet, which I think is 16. So they're kind of like the beginning traits that you get before you become of age and you get the proper game traits. So this one at the bottom actually looks promising. Anastasia, courtier in Manginos in Greece. Again, apologies for the pronunciation. So she's a thrifty clerk, so she's great at stewardship, which is good. That means we can increase the size of our lands in the end, which isn't important at the beginning because we've only got one county, but as we expand, they'll become more and more important. She's diligent, which is great because it improves all the stats. Chaste, not ideal, especially as we're chaste as well, so the fertility it's going to make it harder to make heirs. Kind, again, is quite good. Proud, gets us extra prestige, that's great. And she's of house Mangoes. House Mangoes, that's what I'm going to call them from now on. They're House Mangoes. So she would be quite a good one for us because she has good things. Her stats aren't amazing, but when you get married, it adds your stats and your spouse's stats together to improve your kind of overall stats. So they're not amazing, but they're not the worst I've seen. This Claudia, Courtier, and Sorrenti, she's quite good. She's trusting, misguided warrior, so she'd make better self warrior children and things like that, I would presume, in the long run. She's got a good modifier for defense, so do you know what? We're just going to go with Anastasia. So if we right click her and say we want to get married, so we're going to ask her father, the patrician of Mangoes, if we can marry her. Now we're going to lose 100 prestige for marrying her because she's a lowborn in the game, so she's not got any titles. She hasn't got one of these borders, which means you're titled in the game. So you know, this guy's got one. I think that is the one for patricians. We're a count, so we have the blue and white one. So we lose 100 prestige, but it's not that important this early in the game. It's not great. I'd rather lose none, but it's better than nothing. And we're not going to get anyone high enough to increase it. So we're going to marry her. So we'll do that. That means that we're going to send off a guy down to Greece. He's going to go the long way. He's going to go all the way down to Greece and then come back and let us know what's happening there. So we've done that one. Pick an ambition. So we have two things here, an ambition. So this is like a short-term goal that we want in the game, so we can become a paragon of virtue if we're playing, you know, like an honourable person. Become king of Brittany. That's quite a good one to do, but short-term we're not going to manage that, so there's no point choosing it. Because we don't get any gain from doing that, and you can't cancel it as it says, so we can't be wasting our time. See the realm prosper. Count Morvan wants to see his realm prosper by staying at peace for 5 years. We're probably not going to stay in peace for 5 years. We're probably going to start some wars before then, so we don't want to do that. Build a war chest. That one's okay to do. Groom an heir. This is the one we're going to start with. It's the one I usually start with because it's generally an easy one to do because you already have an heir. So as long as he gets to the age of becoming an adult, you achieve this goal, and you also have increased fertility to make new heirs. So yes, we're going to do that. That will counteract some of our chase thing there. They'll counteract the negative stuff there. So we'll keep that, and then we're going to choose a focus as well. This is kind of like well, as it says, a focus really. It's just like where you think you're going to go with this character. Now, I'm going to try and play the game semi-role playing, so whatever my character is when I take him over, that's what I'm going to try and do. So our guy's he's a weird one. He's content, but he's also greedy, but he's also kind, and he's also chaste. So he's a detached priest. So he's an interesting one. So he's kind of greedy, but then also likes giving the money away, I guess. So let's see what we could do as here. We might do family as the focus for him, because none of the others really fit. And you know, he's kind and stuff. So yeah, we're going to go with family. It'll help us build up a little family anyway. So it's going to be a good start. So that's another one done. Ruler unmarried, we've sorted that one out. Special minor titles grantable. So these are the list of little titles you can give people, and we've got to do that, otherwise the game keeps telling you off. So let's go with court physician. I don't think we have one. Oh, we do have one. So yeah, you can be him because you're the only person who can do it. Master of the horse. Now the rest of these don't really matter. You have to pay them a little bit of money or some prestige or something like that, but they're generally not important. I just usually give them to people that either borderline like me, like this guy. So if we give him one of these jobs, the steward, so if we give him that job, he will like me a little bit more now. So yeah, he's gone up from 0 to 5. So these are generally just titles I give out to people to just make them sort of like me a bit more, basically. Kristen, courtier, so she's a courtier. I won't give it to her just because she is only a courtier, so it doesn't really matter. But like the spy master, we'll give him it. Cupbearer, commander. We'll give it to that guy because he's a commander. So I usually give these to people, like I said, who I want to like me, but also people who are important, so like vassals and things, just to keep them on my side a little bit more. And we'll just check out our commanders. He's good. He's got a modifier for terrain mastery, and a 12 and 11, so that's not bad. We'll just check who these guys are. I don't think he's got another title. I don't think he's on my I don't think he's on my council. Meldarok, he isn't. And Irinkar, yeah, he's not on my council. The only thing I usually check is if they're on my council, I tend to remove them as commanders because I don't want good council members dying in battle, unless they're my only good fighter, then you kind of have to. So one thing we might do is we might just remove this guy from being the head marshal because he's terrible at it. He's only got 5 skill. So we might change it to this guy now. Unfortunately, the bishop won't like us if we change him. He'll get annoyed with us for getting rid of him from the council. He's a powerful vassal. I might have to... Actually, I might try to switch him over to be the court chaplain. Let's have a look, see if it lets us do that. There we go. So it's created one of these events. We're basically going to ask him, like, hey, do you mind moving from being marshal? Because you're terrible at being marshal. So we don't want him to be chancellor. We don't want him to be steward. No, I had something else in mind. There we go. You should be my court chaplain. There we go. So that switched him over. If I just kicked him out of this role and then appointed him to this role, he would remember that I removed him from a role. So I always make sure I use the context menus to switch him, otherwise he just gets mad. And what that's done is actually put this guy as our marshal, who's 9, so we're going to keep him. So now we just need to get these guys doing something, so we're going to start as we mean to go on and try stealing some land. So he's going to go fabricate claims in Damonia, because that's going to be our first counter we're going to try to take over. The marshal, he's going to go train troops. Steward, he is going to... I think we'll get him just collecting taxes so we can get some more money. Now the spy master, this is what I always usually do. I always usually send my spy master down to Constantinople because that's the most technically advanced place in the game at the moment, and you know, he's going to go and try to steal some of the secrets and bring them back for me. And then Bishop Erblon of Londriga, terrible pronunciation. For now, he's just going to do cultural tech, so he's just going to research things for our technology and hopefully increase some of these here. And see if we can start getting ahead of people. Starting as a smaller county, I try and do some technological advancement because it can help you spread. The problem we're going to have in this playthrough is Francia, so the West Francia and then Central Francia. We're going to have to steal all their counties along the top of here, which is going to be extremely difficult. So we're probably going to have to do it through marriage or diplomacy. We're not going to be able to go to war with France here. Unless something strange happens, like say we took over England somehow, then we could maybe do it. But it's going to be interesting to see how we manage. So we'll see. Apart from that, I think that's everything we need to do to begin with. We've got a moderate army, nothing major though. We need the bishop here to be our friends a little bit more, so he can give us some troops. Apart from that, we've got 286 troops. This is the guy that we're going to want to take over. If we look at him, we can see how many troops he's got. Here we go. So he's got 173, 238. So he's got probably more than us. I think I've read that right. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It has been a little bit since I played this game. There's been a couple of patches, so there's a couple of things I'm going to miss where they were before, but just let me know if you spot any I get wrong. And then we've got designated region. Now, for this, I usually put, again, for region, you want somebody who is your friend, who likes you, so when he becomes regent, he doesn't just go crazy, try to take over everything. But you also want somebody with good stats, because you play as them for a while, and their stats affect your realm. So yeah, I think he was our only powerful vassal, so we're just going to choose him. So he's got the two like main titles, but he'll keep him on our side. So I think that's all the base stuff that you kind of have to do at the start done. Yep, so we'll get time going, and we'll see how we go. So at the moment we have no diplomatic relations with anyone, just us. I think we'll keep on this view for now. This shows all the different realms as they're done. So this is all Francia, the two versions of it at the moment. And this is all the different thing down in Spain. But we're just going to be here. And here we go, we've got this little story bit started again. The church wants to organise a miracle play for a local saint in our domain, I think. I'm going to say domain. They seem to feel that it should fall on our shoulders to pay for it. That's nice of them. Thanks, church. So we can, it is for the glory of God, increase our piety but lose gold. The church wants it. The church can pay for it. And that'll annoy the bishop, which we've just done some work to improve. So it's only 4 gold. Let's do it. So we're going to do that, and that'll proc another event probably to start soon. We'll wait for that to happen. Here we go. We've heard back from Greece. Anastasia and Count Morvan are getting married. We can collect a royal aid duty to pay for the ceremonies. So again, another option. We either gain some gold, gain some prestige. Now, I think we did lose prestige for marrying her, so I'm going to respect people's wealth, claim some prestige back. Here we go. This is her father saying, "Yep, I agree to the marriage." So we should be married now if I click this. There we go. So this is our wife now. She likes us, 7, because we're both kind, and because we got married. Now, because we've got minus prestige, she doesn't like us for that, which is, you know, it's your fault. We have no prestige, but, you know, fair play, I guess. So yeah, now we'll have a little family going here. There we go, another event. I grow more and more impatient with Chancellor Mayor Andreas. His slothfulness makes him go to extreme lengths to avoid having to do any actual work. So our Chancellor's lazy. Let's have a look. He's an underhanded rogue, but he's patient at being a rogue. He's cynical. Yeah, look, he's slothful, but also charitable. So he's a charitable rogue who's very patient. But he's patient to the point of being slothful. So here we go. We can give a stern talking to Chancellor. I will give him one last chance to sharpen up, and he will become. I think that means he become more slothful. Surely not. I'm going to give him a stern talking to. There we go. So we've talked to him. I was glad to hear Chancellor Mayor Andreas decided to amend his ways and start working harder. The slothfulness that caused us to miss the opportunity to prove Leon seems to have disappeared overnight, and I am glad I talked sternly to him about it. Good for you, and me. So we talked to him, and we like him more by 10, and he's also lost slothfulness, so that's good. It's actually made him a kind of a better character, as it were. So that's good. He isn't married. How old is he? 31. Let's have a look, see if we can arrange a marriage for him. I'll cheer him up. Yep, you. And this is the only person we've got. This is the only kind of free woman, I guess, in our realm at the moment. So might just pick her. She's not. Oh, she's Midas touched. She'd be really. Oh, she would have been good for us to marry, to be honest. Be Midas touched. That's one of the best sort of major traits, like a stewardship +9. She would have been great. And she's got charitable as well. Oh well. Missed our chance, Kristen. So I'm going to marry him. Hopefully that'll kind of settle him down a bit or whatever, and he'll stop annoying us. There we go. My liege, the people of Constantinople have progressed beyond our own technological level. Well, it's not difficult. We're not very advanced. I have managed to study their advancements. The documents enclosed help us reach their level. I hope you find this to your satisfaction, your humble spy master, Talent. So he's basically stole some tech, and it's improved one of these bars here. I don't think there's a way of telling which one. Oh, here we go. One of the 3 options will happen. 33% chance to gain 50 in either of the windows here. So if we click it, we'll see if we see any gains. Oh, we did. We got 50 military advance, so that's good. And then basically once one of these squares completes, you can press the button here to invest in that. So that's how you kind of level up your technology. But that'll be a while away yet. We're going to something else. Your wisdom and mercy are legendary, accept your suggestion. So the Mayor of Brest has now got married to Kristen, like we told him to. So hopefully that cheers him up a bit. Have a look. Here we go. City of Brest. There we go, that's kind of the start going. Done all the kind of boring paperwork at the beginning of your playthrough, and we're just starting on our way now. So we might turn speed up a little bit faster. So at the very beginning of the game, not a great deal happens, as everyone else is also kind of just sorting out what's happening. Except France will go crazy every once in a while with revolts. So yeah, our short-term aim is to basically take over these 4 counties here, because none of the counts have lieges, so they're not bound to any other larger empire. So that means nobody will come and save them when I invade and take over. So it's going to make them semi-easy pickings for me to take over. And then once we've got these 4, that's when the real fun begins. Okay, another thing. I was spending more time with my wife and Anastasia lately, and though we, of course, did not marry for love, she was just the best in our list. I can tell it is growing between us. Marital bliss. So basically, we like each other a little bit more. So yeah, once we've taken over these 4 counties here, that's when we'll have to plan our next route of taking over. It's going to be tough with France here, because we won't be able to do it via war, so unless it splinters a lot, we're going to have an interesting time. So speed up time a little bit more, just to get somewhere where things start happening. I'm just going to turn some of these important events on, just so I remember them. So hold a feast, hold a summer fair. These two are good for, they cost you gold, or ducats is it? No, well, just wealth, cost you just wealth. But they spawn events to happen, and they have little storylines, and it helps you get prestige or help people like you more than they currently do. Let's have a look. The Pope has died. Long live the Pope. Pope Stephanus III has died, and Pope Sylvester II is now Pope. This guy just taken over. So one of the latest expansions, the Devil's Due, I think it was called. You have like the secret societies and things. You become like a devil worshipper, and you can like infiltrate the church and make the Pope a devil and things. But like I said, that gets a bit crazy, so I don't have that turned on. But it can be quite fun to do a little scheming around the continents. Here we go. Fate smiles upon me. My wife Anastasia is pregnant. Excellent. So this is our son from our last marriage, who we don't even know who the mother was, unless we go to the family tree. No, just somebody. So he will inherit everything unless he dies, and then if we do have a child with our wife, they will be the second in line. So new important decisions are available. So this is telling me the fair is available now. So it's going to cost me 25 gold, and it will give me a little bit of prestige, but mainly just triggers the events, and the prosperity of our capital will increase. So yeah, for the end of this episode, we're going to do one of these, just so you can see what it's like. I've given the order that a summer fair should be held in Lyon this summer. This should make the peasants happy. Yeah, no Black Death yet, so anything to keep them happy. So a little time will pass, and then the fair will begin, and then we'll get some choices to make. Like I said, our guy's was he Chase, greedy and kind, so it's not a great guidance on how to roleplay him, but let's have a look, see what we can choose as the decisions. There we go. The Summer's Fair archery contest went very well. The clout and the space around it was filled with arrows. Some of them had hit the bullseye, some of them missed the cloud altogether. The winner was a modest man who appeared rather quickly who disappeared quickly after he collected his prize. That's suspicious. There you go. Gain the trait paranoid. Marshal, find and arrest that man. So basically this is kind of like a Robin Hood kind of storyline, I think. So we can try to track him down. That raises the risk of a revolt. It's not that big an issue. We only have one county anyway, so we just raise an army and put them down. Or we can gain the trait paranoid. So I start, wondering, who is this guy? As we role playing this playthrough, I'm going to pick that one just for a change. So I'm a little bit suspicious now. I'm looking for Robin Hood all over. So that can also trigger events later, I think, but get them as they come to us. Let's have a look, see what these guys are up to. See these. Get to you in a minute. So these three counties that we want to that. Now the one thing we're going to have an issue with is all three of them are at war. I think they're at holy war. There we go. Defending against Prince Rahman of Andalusia in Toledo, holy war for Leon. Now that's not Leon here. That's Spanish Leon. Where is Spanish Leon? Forget. Here. So these three counts here are helping in this war for Leon, as the Arabs here are trying to take the last bastions, I think, of Catholicism from France, from Spain. So they're in a holy war now. That makes it harder for us to go to war because you get a negative modifier for them being in a holy war. So it costs you piety to do the war, which I don't think we have any at the moment. Oh, we do. We have 53. So I think you need 100 to start a war against somebody who is in a holy war, and also everyone of that religion that's in the war will look negatively at us for kind of taking advantage of him being away. So hopefully this war kind of wraps up and ends, and then we can take it over. Here we go, we'll get back to this event. The local nobles of Leon complain that too many peasants entering the city during this summer fair. Just getting too busy. There we go, so we can tell them to accept the peasants. That means the mayor, the guy who we just married, just got your wife. We can tell him to, hey, just leave the gates open, let people in. But he'll dislike us by 15 for 5 years, which is quite a long time. Or we can restrict the peasants' access to the city, which will increase the revolt risk by 5%, which is quite a lot. So, how much does this guy like us? He likes us by 19. So, to be fair, I'm just going to do this. Because it's changes, but he still likes us by 4, so he's not going to get mad. The peddlers are unloading their wares and merchants are taking down their stalls. The jugglers, strolling players, and the other entertainers are preparing to leave. The summer fair is over for this year. Well, it was fun whilst it lasted, and 10 prestige. So we didn't get many events out of it, but we got some prestige. We annoyed our mayor and had some merriment on the way. There we go. As reigning count, I really have any spare time. With my little son Konkar, I would move heaven and earth. Family first. So it's just having a little event with our son that we started with, just saying, you're an alright. We don't mind you. So actually one thing to check is who is his educator. Oh, it is us. So that's okay. So we're kind of teaching him and training him in our ways. Actually, one thing here, we need to change his focus. So he hasn't got any minor traits yet. He's kind of grey before coming of age ones. So we can basically make him whatever we want. So what's his skills? He's a bit of a learner. So let's do him as that. Let's do this one, faith. True by priest, focus on Catholic religion and religious learning. A common trait outcome is idolizer. So that'll make him quite religious. Let's do it. Let's do it. And he will probably come out with idolizer, which is +1 for learning. So let's do that. We'll make him, I think basically for our children, whichever one of these stats is highest, that's what we'll roleplay him as. So his highest thing is learning, so that's what we're going to have him as. Make the playthrough a little bit more interesting rather than always focusing on the same thing. So we'll get time going, and I think at the end of this year we'll finish this episode, so see if anything interesting happens. To the count. These guys still at war. They are. See if we click on him and declare war. See, look, we can't declare war on him at the moment because, like I said, he's in a religious war. He's defending against heathens, so it costs us 100 piety. So we're either going to have to find a way to build up piety, or we're going to have to wait for the war to finish. But yeah, we'll figure out one of those two things before the end. So what we're wanting to do is the Duchy of... This is the duchy that we're going to try make. It's going to be hard because these last two are in France here, but once we claim these 4, we'll be able to make a claim on these last 2. I think once you earn more than 50% of a duchy, you can then get de jure claims for the rest of the duchy because you're trying to kind of recreate it. So that'll be our short-term goal, and then we can become King of Brittany, which is the same land. So actually that could be a nice short-term goal, actually, become King of Brittany. Start us on our way, but here we go. Last thing to do. Daughter was born to Count Morvan of Leon and Countess Anastasia of Leon, named Orisen. That's not a name I would have chosen, but sure, let's go with it. Now if we look down here, we should have a child. Here we go. So that means the crown means they're your heir. The blood droplet, I guess that is, that means they're, like it says, a close member of your dynasty. So she's there. She's no years old. She looks old for 0, but you know, I suppose grown up fast. Now we could look for a husband, but I don't think we'll really have. Oh, there are some here actually that are quite good ones. So we could marry her off to like the Duke of Toulouse. It would result in a non-aggression pact with the Duke. He wants to become the King of Aquitaine. He wants to acquire a title. Groom and heir. So there's quite a few dukes actually, and petty kings that want to marry our daughter. So that will be something to think about. We'll probably do that in the next episode. Pick one of these people. Picked one of these people to marry her off to. So, especially this top one here. I think he king of the. Oh, he's Chancellor of Pictland. So Pictland is Scotland in the in this early start. So if we married her off to him, she would kind of be getting into the into that kind of realm and things. So it's definitely something to think of. And then if they had children, you know, we'd gain some influence up there. So we will. I think that would. Do we want to hold another fair? No, we don't want to do that just yet. No, don't. Pressing the wrong buttons. What was I trying to do? Oh, here. Yeah, we want to pick a focus. And she hasn't got any because she's just been born. So as that's the case, we're going to pick one. Now we're going to marry her off somewhere. So I'm going to try and choose one of these that kind of helps us with that kind of thing. Timid, affectionate. No, we don't want that. No, we don't want that. Was that intrigue down here? Diplomacy, intrigue. We're going to choose this one, etiquette, because we're going to try and marry her off and use her to progress our lands. So yeah, I think we'll leave it there for this episode. We haven't done a great deal, but we've set the kind of table for our future expansions. And next time we're coming for you, this guy, Count Boudic of Domonia. We're coming for you. You know, this is where we're going to try go for. So hopefully that'll happen next episode and we can start getting some of these counties built up. So, well, thanks for joining in. Let me know if you've got any feedback. I'm sure I've missed some things I should have done. It's been a while since I've played, so if you spot any deliberate mistakes, please do let me know, and we can get on our way to owning all this coast here. So thanks for tuning in, and I shall see you next time.